Welcome, and it's another Talking Technical show. And yes, we've got plenty requests, and it is just clear that some investors actually cannot believe that this market wants to come down and show some weakness. But we want to kick off straight away with a share with the name of Capitec. We've covered this share quite a few times on the show already, and the big thing with Capitec is that it is one of those shares that just ignores anything in the market. It just goes higher. But for the last couple of weeks, you can almost say from about the middle of August, the share is just, you can almost say consolidating. It had a beautiful rally from 1,500 Rand. It almost went up to 1,950. But now we're seeing a very interesting scenario here. Here we are seeing that the share is making a symmetrical triangle. Now, a symmetrical triangle is always known as a formation that calls for insecurity, or that somebody is not sure about the share, or uncertainty. That is amongst investors, because this formation is either going to break to the upside or to the downside, because that is the job of a symmetrical triangle, is to tell you that the share is marking time and that investors must make up their mind. Now, the short and sweet of it, Davy, is if the share breaks above this doji candle, and remember this is the doji candle, and that was formed on Tuesday, the 28th of September, if it breaks above 1,917 Rand and 51 cents, it can easily go to 2,000 Rand. And on the other hand, if this doji turns into resistance below 1,856 Rand 10 cents, it can go back all the way to 1,750. Now, of course, we know that this share is a market favorite, and I just want to see how far it is from its moving average, and I just want to put in a 50-day, because the big thing for a 50-day, a lot of investors like to use a 50-day for a medium-term view, and that's usually for a 6-month view. Now, what we see here is that the 50-day moving average is acting as a good support. It bounces off here like in 2021, April 2021, it bounced beautifully off that. It came back to test it. It went for a brief moment, a few days below that, and rallied up. So we can easily see it come back 1,781 off, of course, if this symmetrical triangle, and sometimes we will also call it a flag formation in a bullish trend, and definitely this is a bullish trend, you can know that the share wants to go higher. The big thing here, what I do pick up on the fundamental side, price to earnings ratio is a 47. That's high. And a dividend yield of only 0.6. So it just shows you that the investors or the market, they believe that the company will not disappoint and that the company will just perform. And that's why they buy it on any dip, or just to use the momentum to take the share higher every time. Let's have a look at an African Rainbow Minerals. And of course, this is also one of the old favorites of the market. Nothing is struggling there. Let's have a look here. African Rainbow Minerals, that is the problem. You know, a lot of people believed that the commodity sector and the commodity shares will just go higher and higher and higher, and it's all a brand new, you can almost say, bull market, and nothing can turn around. What this share is telling us, if you look at it over quite a long time, we'll see that even this share acted on a double top. There was the top, January 21, and then on course August 21, there was the double top, and suddenly this market fell off that, and it just shows you that even commodity shares get to a point where they need to take a rest, or they need to go and they need to see some selling. Now, let's have a look here, and I just want to use this. Let's just have a look at 200-day moving average. Now, it just shows you that if you look at the 200-day moving average, you will say, listen, I believe that this share's got a long-term positive view. But on the other hand, if you look at this daily chart, it tells you the share has been consolidating below this 200-day moving average for quite a while. So I will not buy the share unless if you are a trader, because if you are a trader, you will immediately recognize that this beautiful hammer, probably in an oversold situation. Let's quickly add that into and see if the share was oversold when that took place. Just want to get there. There you are. You can see it's been oversold for a while. It came back. I like this positive divergence. What is a positive divergence? That's where the stochastic makes a low and there's a higher low and the share is consolidating. It tells you eventually this stochastic can pull the share out of the dumps. But of course, there's my clue. This beautiful inverse hammer tells me that there were some buyers, but on the other hand, what we must look out for, we don't want the share to get below the low of this hammer candle. And that is sitting at 197 Rand and 89 cents. If it gets below that, the momentum can take the share even lower. Now, what I like to do is usually, if a share has such a solid downtrend where you see numerous lower highs constantly, I will take the conservative approach and say, listen, let's just draw a trend line in. If you draw this trend line in, you will see the trend line tells you that the momentum is clearly to the downside. And where can you look at the share? Strange enough, beautiful here, you will see that right at this hammer, the top of this hammer, 215 Rand will probably be the level where this resistance line, this negative trend line, turn into a support. And that's the place to look at it. So if you do buy it above that 215 line level, and make use of a stop loss of 197 Rand and 89 cents. Yes, and of course, if it carries on and it builds some momentum, it can go back to 230.23, 238.47, and even 253.43. But it's a lot of work to get it back to the 200-day moving average. Well, let's have a look at PPC. Now, this was one of those shares that everybody hated. Everybody thought this company is going to go under. I think a lot of you can remember that. Now, let's have a look at PPC. How the share is performing now on a weekly chart. And the reason why I'm looking at the weekly chart, for quite a while, this share was like a speculative buy. And everybody just bought it for a few cents. And what happened? Suddenly, this share turned into a kind of share that you need to keep for the medium to a long term. And on the other hand, they just announced now that they say that their sales are wonderfully improving. And this is the 40-week moving average. Now, look at it. It actually gave a buy at 85 cents. And that's quite a while back. That was in November last year. And I can remember we called it on the show at around 62 cents when this was a tiny little, let's maybe just show the viewers, just to refresh your memory. There was a tiny break of this resistance line. There you are. And it was an early way to tell you, listen, maybe you need to get into the share. Let's just show you here. And you will see, the moment you see it, you will see that the share actually wants to give you a beautiful, and there you are, a falling wedge. It gave you a falling wedge right at the bottom when everybody wanted to write the company off. And look what happened since then. Beautiful rallies. Even this 40-week moving average turned into a support. And after that, look at it. Higher low, maybe a little bit of selling, a double bottom there, and immediately it bounced up. So if you do buy the share and you like the momentum, then there you are. There's your next technical buy on it. And that is above this little line there, and that is above 3.80 Rand. So if you do buy it again, yes, you can buy it, keep it above 3.80. Just be nervous because this share had a beautiful recovery and it can maybe surprise you and just come back to this 200-day moving average of 40-week to 290 Rand. But if you do chase it above 3.80, I think just make use of a stop loss of 3.43 Rand. And where's the place to go? If it carries on the momentum, it can maybe take the share to 4.49 Rand. And don't be surprised if it gets up to 5 Rand. Can you believe it? A company, PPC, many years ago, it was a wonderful company, but suddenly now it looks like it wants to build momentum, and suddenly people are loving the share. Well, let's have a look at Harmony. Harmony is what Niels asked about Harmony, and he wants to know if he can buy it. Let's have a look. Because the gold price is under pressure, but the Rand looks like it wants to weaken. And if I look at the share here, well, I mean, with all the bad news that is in the gold price, let's just take this out. There you are. Just want to close that formula. There you are. While the share, this was the other day, there was a beautiful strong candle. There's a nice candle, a reverse candle. I like to look at some reverse candles when the momentum is so down or it just rallied so far. Look at this beautiful gravestone doji. Now, a gravestone doji is usually a reversal candle after a massive sell-off. But on the other hand, look at the following day's beautiful bullish engulfing candle. Now, for me personally, it is simple. The share must not go below 42.55. That's the low of this share. And it shows me some higher lows. There's a low, higher low, higher low. And what I like about it, look at these shadows of these shares pointing out to the downside. That tells you there's some buyers around. But let's just have a look here. I want to use this overhang resistance line. There you are. For me personally, to give me the next move to the upside, the share needs to get above 49 Rand and 63 cents. Above 49.63, I like the chart. It is early days maybe for this chart. And on the other hand, if you do buy it, make use of a stop loss of 45 Rand 72 Niels. And then if it bounces up, it can go all the way back to 53.07 and even 56.29. And there's a tiny little gap. Maybe we're just lucky for it to close there. 58 Rand 16, and it will close at 58 Rand 31 cents. So it's a tight call, but for me, remember the gold price personally needs to get above 1,830 to get a beautiful rally in the gold price. And of course, while the rand is weaker than, I know, the level 14 Rand 94, the rand can weaken more, because it is now above its 200-day moving average. Well, visit our website, www.fransklerk.com, and we will chat again.